With that sort of spirit, I've brought a chart that I'm going to build that's kind of explaining what was going on in the early church. And we're going to start this chart with the circle of God's acceptance. When Jesus came, he drew this circle really, really wide. He made it clear that there were a whole lot of people that fit within the circle of God's acceptance. There were the Jews, which was no big surprise because they had been the chosen people of God for millennia. It was a little bit of a surprise that Jesus accepted the women and children as fully as the men. That was a little bit different. But Jesus started accepting outside the circle of Judaism. There were Romans that were accepted, and there were Samaritans that were accepted, who it had been believed for many generations were unacceptable to God just because of who they were. He made it clear that people on both ends of the political spectrum were acceptable. He had far left and far right represented in his disciples. He made it clear that people with mental and physical illness were welcome. It was a really, really wide circle of God's acceptance. There was another circle at play, though. This is the circle of people like us, or people like my church. This was the circle that had the earliest Christians, the ones who were, by and large, all Jewish. And if you were in this circle, you kind of knew who you were because you had thousands of years of tradition and law and ritual and belief that bound you together as a community. And of course, one of the big signs that came up in the scriptures, if you were a man, you became circumcised. That's how it was known to yourself and to the community that you were part of this inner Jewish circle. But there was a tension because even that inner Jewish circle of Christians knew that there were all of these people outside the circle that weren't Jewish, but that yet God had accepted. Because God had sent a dream to Peter that indicated that they were acceptable to God. God had been pouring out the Holy Spirit on these people, and so they recognized that there was a tension. This is the donut with sprinkles chart of Christian acceptance, in case you need a term to put to that when you're telling others about it. The sprinkles, they were out in the margins, accepted by God, but yet not part of the circle of people like me.